It was a great day to be a Terrier Saturday afternoon in Boone, North Carolina. We're at Kid Brewer Stadium. The Wofford Terriers knocked off Appalachian State 38-28, and with that up their SoCon record to 4-1. They are now 6-1 overall. Welcome into the show, Mark Hauser, along with Coach Ayers. And Coach, you said it at one point, the stadium was swaying, it was rocking, and you found a way to quiet down about 26,000 people. Heck of a day for you guys.
It was a great game, a great day. We knew it would be very challenging. If there's a team at our level that has more team speed than them, I cannot imagine. They had some tremendous players, and when we went up, we knew that we were going to have to be a complete team. If we didn't get it done in all three phases, then we'd probably struggle. Defensively, we played a great game. We really did. Did not give up a cheap touchdown. Anything that they got, they had to earn. Tackled well in space. Pressure on the quarterback, and one of those pressures led to a touchdown by Terry Odom. And I think from an offensive standpoint, we made progress, made some big plays. Mike and Brian both had a big part in those big plays, and I think our offensive line did a great job up front, as usual. And then you look at our skill guys on defense, did a nice job of covering guys up and just giving them the short throw and then coming up and making the tackle. And Casey Redfern, great job. Christian Reed didn't travel, had pulled his quad on a Thursday, warming up, and Casey did all the kicking. He kicked off, he did the field goals and the punting, and did an excellent job for us. We had a great group of Wofford people.
Yeah, you did.
They were outnumbered probably 1,000 to 24,000, but they made a lot of noise, and that's a great place to play.
Yeah.
It's a great team to play historically. I think everybody knows the reputation of App, and you know, we've had some great battles here at Gibbs, and we've beaten them here at Gibbs, but it'd been a while since we'd beaten them up there on the Rock, and it felt good. It really did.
And, you know, we'll get to the list of injured later in the program because we saw them go down one by one up there. But I will ask you, Calvin Cantrell, your most experienced offensive lineman, did not make the trip. Concussion, may not play for several more weeks at left tackle. I know Joseph Gromer got some time in there. Talk about the guys who filled in at left tackle, because that's about as important as it gets at that spot.
Well, in the game, Joseph came in and he played well. He's been in the program now. He's a senior, has a lot of experience, and he's played a lot of football. Calvin is an excellent football player for us, was a starter, all-conference guy. And when he went down, the natural fill-in guy was going to be Joseph. And so I'm sure he was might be a wee bit nervous, but he had prepared and did a great job. Did a nice job on the pass pro. Did a nice job run blocking. A lot of that tough inside running occurs because you get movement, and then you let number 7 do his thing as far as finding the daylight. And Joseph did a great job for us.
And I want to hit that early in the program. Eric Breitenstein, number 7, going home for the final time, had not won in Boone. In fact, the last 2 times he'd been up there, things went south early. Did you have a chance to get a sense or even talk to Eric about what it meant to him to play as well as he did, 120-plus yards rushing, and get a win in front of just tons of family and friends up there? Well,
I would put it like this. He was very happy. that was something that he definitely wanted to do. He wanted to be able to go back and wanted us to win. And it wasn't so much about him going back and winning, but about us going back and winning. And he had been there when, like you said, when things went south in a hurry. And I was very proud of the way that he performed. He's going to give you everything that he's got. He had a problem at Georgia Southern. Guy twisted his ankle, and it was pretty bad ankle sprain. But he did rehab a couple times a day, every day, and I would say that it was going to take a lot for him not to play in that game.
And he did, and the Terriers won over App State. 38-28 was the final. All right, time for our GSP International Airport question of the week. If you are the first person to go to the Wofford Terriers Facebook page at Wofford Terriers and answer this question correctly, you will receive what you see right here, this rolling cooler from GSP International Airport. Your question is, what airline services 18 different Florida cities right out of GSP? What airline serves 18 different cities out of Florida, out of GSP? Answer the question correctly, and you've got one of these. We'll give you the answer a little bit later on in the program. By the way, if you're listening on the radio, it's a lovely rolling cooler. It is very nice. Keep your cold stuff on the move. And our listener question this week comes from TJ in Spartanburg, Coach, and he wants to know, you've got your tight ends coach here, Coach Kalinowski. Mm-hmm. In an option type offense, the triple,
right?
What does the tight end? What purposes will the tight end serve in a triple option offense as opposed to the standard spread or pro set?
Well, first of all, they're a blocker.
Yeah, that's unusual.
Yes. Most of the time in other offenses, they're receivers. Our guys are used as receivers, but it's kind of like the jack in the box. Once you hit that last click, the head pops up. Well, when we throw to the tight end, it's like the jack in the box, and everybody's surprised. But we've been fortunate that we made some big catches. Michael Harp has done a great job doing that, and big job for them. They've got to know all the blocking schemes. They've got to be able to power down and wash a defender in a gap. They've got to be able to work up to a linebacker. They've got to be able to arc to a safety and arc to a corner sometimes, as well as understanding the concepts of the throwing game, the different protections and all that stuff. So there's a bunch. They have a lot on their plate, but Coach K, he does a great job with those guys, meeting them. Most of them have to meet him early in the morning because of classes and stuff like that, but he'll come up and give them a good meeting and send them along their merry way.
Now, do they work out with the offensive line when you're doing the blocking schemes?
Normally what happens when we first start preseason camp, they'll go through the shoots and all that, because there's so many times that we may be in an unbalanced type of set where we have both tackles over, so the tight end is in basically the backside tackle position, and there are plays that we run that in essence he no longer has that tight end hat to think about.
Right.
He's that offensive tackle guy now, and so he's got to understand about double team blocks, about loop block, veer block, arc blocks, and all those things.
Real quick question about your current starting tight end, Michael Harp.
Yep.
From right here in Spartanburg,
right.
Spartanburg High School. His mom has gone through some illness, and he's battled through that, and his family's battled through that. And also, I recall when he came in, I think he was listed around 190.
Right.
And now I think we list him at 240. He's gotten after it.
Right. He's worked extremely hard to get bigger in the weight room. I think his mother's fed him a lot more than she used to, but he's worked hard, and his mother, thank goodness, is doing a lot better, and Mike's the guy that we have a devotion prior to every one of our games, and Mike's the guy that does the devotion for us. Great kid. Yep.
And our thanks to TJ in Spartanburg for the question. That is our GSP International Airport question. And again, send your answer to Wofford Terriers on Facebook. What airline that flies out of GSP services 18 different cities in the state of Florida? In our next segment, who's coming to town? The Citadel Bulldogs. They've got a couple of big wins under their belt, and we'll tell you more about them and preview the Bulldogs next. All right, this Saturday, 1:30 at Gibbs Stadium, homecoming here on the Wofford College campus, and the Terriers will host the Citadel Bulldogs. They'll make their way up from Charleston with a record of 4-3 overall. They are 3-2 in the league, and they have 2 marquee victories on their docket. A conference opening home win against Georgia Southern, and then a week later, they went to Appalachian, led 38-7 at the half, and ended up winning, scoring 52 points. They have cooled off a little bit since, but Coach, they've raised a lot of eyebrows real quick this year.
No doubt. Kevin's done a great job. They're in that third year, I think, of option football, and they have 2 guys that play the quarterback position, and both of them are quality players. They have very experienced offensive line. Their skill kids are really good. One of their quarterbacks is a really good passer. So when you say triple option, it's fullback, quarterback, or pitch, and now you also have the play-action pass. So there's really 4 options that they have. And defensively, they're in a new scheme. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They have real good players, and they play at a high level. When you look at the film, they beat Georgia Southern. They did. They moved the ball against them, made big plays against them, and beat them. You look at App. App didn't have an answer, and they made big play after big play after big play. And we're going to have to be the complete team. This is a game, quite frankly, where every possession is going to be key, because we're both going to try to possess the ball. We're going to try to run the clock. We're going to try to keep the other team's offense on the boundary and score some points. And it's a big game for us. We have a knockdown, drag out every time we play them, and I'm sure they're going to come up here highly motivated and do everything they can do to try to win the game.
You know Coach Higgins. You've known Coach Higgins for quite some time, because Wofford played them back when he was very successful at Lehigh, back in the late 90s. And then he comes to the Citadel and he runs the spread. He runs kind of the pro set with guys like Andre Roberts, who's now in the NFL as a receiver. Were you at all surprised when he decided to make the move to the triple option?
Well, I think Kevin, there's no doubt he's an excellent football coach, and his decision, I think, went because in the direction of the 3-back stuff, because he felt like that they would probably be able to recruit players to that type of system quicker than they would, let's say, a 6'4", strong-arm, athletic quarterback. The linemen that they were able to recruit, that they just felt just like we have. Our philosophy is we can take guys that a lot of people don't recruit, and they can fit our system. Right. So I think because of the way that our conference was, he just felt like that it would give them an opportunity to hopefully level the playing field a little bit and be more competitive.
Now, when Wofford runs the triple out of the wing bone, our slots or our wings are slightly outside the tackles. Right. When Georgia Southern runs it, their slots are kind of between the tackle and the guard. They're tighter, closer in. Where do the Citadel put their slots, and then what do they do out of that thing?
Well, they're very similar. You're probably talking, I don't know, sometimes 6 inches, 8 inches. If they line up outside, then they can't come back inside and block below the waist. If they line up tight, then they can do that. Sometimes because of timing of certain plays, you widen them a little bit to time it up a little bit better, maybe on your counter play, something like that, or a situation where you want to throw the football, you don't want them to get hammered by an outside linebacker or a DN, and so you widen them a little bit. But their big play is the midline play, and they do a great job with it. They try to formation you a lot, and they try to create to where you don't have the ability to fold a player in there to help stop that play. And our defensive staff is working as we speak on a game plan, trying to come up with a way to slow them down. And
I would imagine, I'm going to ask this question just once this week. They haven't beaten Wofford since '98. I mean, it's been 13 in a row, and the press will make a big deal out of this. In terms of just how you handle it when you get asked the question, how do you handle it? I guess I'll ask you straight out.
Well, it's real simple. This is a new year. They're a new team, and so are we. And just because of past history, it doesn't mean that that's going to happen this year. Look at us in App State up there at Boone. So we've got to be the best football team we can be. That's the best Citadel team that we've played against since I've been here. And if we come ready to play, if we execute, if we take care of the ball, if we do all the things that we're coached to do, I think we'll have a chance. If we don't, if we come without the energy, if we come without the execution that we need, if we don't do the fundamentals right, if you fail on some of the little nuances, whether it be the proper step or the proper assignment on who to block, where to block, all those things, they're going to be too good. They're going to create their own energy, and we've got to be a sound Division I football team. We've got to be a team that is playing championship football, because quite frankly, this is the championship run.
Yeah, it is. All right, I'm going to ask you some injury questions. Did you get all the reports back today? Most of them?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, let's start with we'll go one by one. Kevin Thomas.
Will not be able to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Knee injury?
Yes, and it's one of those things where he's not going to need surgery, but it's going to take a little bit of time to recover.
Okay. Michael Weimer, your backup quarterback. I know he went down in the third quarter at App.
Same thing.
Okay. Boy, is there any good news on the rise? Let's see. I'm trying to think who else got. Oh, Donovan Johnson took a vicious hit at App.
Yep, same thing.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Did I miss anybody?
Yeah. Let's see. There were so many of them. Michael, let's see. Jared
Singleton.
Yeah,
that's right.
Jared. That's a wait-and-see deal.
Okay. What was the nature of his injury?
Knee
injury.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big bad week for knees up at App.
Yeah, and it's and App. They had a player go down with the knee.
Right.
He got hit by his own guy, but that's a tough place to play.
It is.
It really is, and we definitely going to be a different team as far as names and numbers and all that stuff, but I think that the guys that we'll line up with, they'll play hard.
All right, it's Wofford and the Citadel homecoming this Saturday, 1:30 at Gibbs Stadium. Our radio coverage will start at 1 o'clock. All right, we bring in Coach Peter Kalinowski. He coaches tight ends for the Terriers, Wofford and the Citadel, Saturday, 1:30 at Gibbs Stadium. And Coach, a great win at Appalachian State on so many levels. Talk about you going through the swings of that one, back and forth and up and down.
I tell you, the game is just so emotional, and as you travel through the game, and you kind of lose track of time, and by the time you blink, everything's kind of gone out the door, and the game's over. And you look at the scoreboard, and we were very fortunate to get the win. But there was a lot of ups and downs and a lot of good moments and a lot of good big plays, and that's what you just hope that you always come out that one point better than the other team.
You coach tight ends, so you have a small group. And what's this I hear Coach Ayers says you get him in there? How early in the morning do you get him in there?
I got a few guys that have some class conflicts. I got a group of 4 guys. Some of them have class on Wednesday mornings, and so we can't really meet. So we get in at 7 in the morning, and we watch Tuesday's practice. Make sure we go over to corrections, do anything new install, and then later in the afternoon, usually try to get back with them, and if we decided to change something, to kind of just go over the surface with it and make the correction and go from there.
Now, working with such a small group, I'd imagine you get to know your players pretty well. So I just want to ask you about Michael Harp and then Kenny, but I want to start with Michael because he's been through a lot since he's been here, and talk about how he's overcome some adversity.
I'll tell you, Michael is just such a good person. He's got such a big heart, works hard, doesn't complain, does everything you ask him to do. Always on point, always knows his assignments, and he's always a guy that you can depend on. And he's just done a really good job. He's a very spiritual leader for our team. Does a great job with our devotions before the games, and we're very glad that he's part of this team. Michael came in as a long snapper,
right, at about 190 pounds.
190 pounds, and we've really not recruited the tight end position very hard here, just because of we didn't use a tight end, and we're getting to a point now where we're kind of depending on him a little bit. So that's kind of where we come from. And Mike's about 240 pounds now.
Yeah, yeah.
And he plays hard.
Tell us a little about Kenny Barnes. Last at the Georgia Southern game, unfortunately, it was a loss, but he caught a deflected pass and came off the field like it was the greatest thing ever that he got to catch one.
I tell you, Kenny is such a positive person. He's always a guy that wants to talk with you and always wants to make sure he's doing everything right. And I wish I could have 4 of those guys on the field at one time, and it puts you in such a tough spot as a coach sometimes to be able to just only have one guy on the field. So I try to give those guys as many opportunities as I can and be as fair as possible, and as long as we win those football games, at the end of the day, it didn't really matter.
Now, what's this coach says that if there's ever a video or IT problem, you're the guy to call? Is this your unofficial job title to go along with tight ends coach?
I graduated with a computer science degree, and so kind of worked as a system administrator fresh out of college, and then I kind of worked my way back into coaching, and computers have always been kind of a niche of mine a little bit, and
yeah.
So I do well with them, and it's a good thing on our staff because we have some guys that are very computer literate.
Yeah, we won't ask you to identify them, but I have an idea.
They know.
I have an idea who one of them may be.
There you go.
And you may know them pretty well.
Yeah.
Finally, I want to ask you this: you mentioned you got away from football. You played at Catawba, defensive line, graduated from there, and then came back to coaching. What did you miss the most about football? Because a lot of people will leave the game and not come back and go into private business or make other careers, and some guys can't stay away. What was it for you? I
think the hardest thing for me was the competition. Just being around it for so long and being so competitive all my life. There was just the itch. Anytime we would get together with Coach, and everybody understands Coach is my father-in-law. During holidays, we would talk ball, and I was always wanting to find a way to get back into it, and the way I found a way back into it was to be able to teach business and programming classes at the high school level, coach football, and I'm very blessed and very fortunate that Coach gave me an opportunity to come in and volunteer and help the team out, and I guess I've done a pretty good job since I'm on staff now, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's been a good experience.
You are the coach's son-in-law, so at family gatherings, do the women ever at some point have to say to you and Mike, enough with the football, let's talk about something else?
I get that question so much. People ask me, how is Coach outside of here? And it's very family-like. When we leave this place, we'll go to dinner together, and we won't talk about work.
Oh, okay.
We kind of do a good job of separating the two. you know, there's times where it'll cross over a little bit, but you know, he's so occupied with Max and the other grandchildren, and that really, no matter who's in the room, it doesn't really matter.
It looks like Max may end up playing a little football too.
I think he's got a little potential.
Yeah, he's got the size.
He definitely has the size, and hopefully, with a little bit of guidance from his father, he can, you know, turn out to be halfway successful.
Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it.
All right, that is Wofford tight ends coach Peter Kalinowski.